The Senate parliamentarian has decided that a $15 minimum wage violates the Byrd Rule. Now, if you don't understand what any of that means, it doesn't matter because it's all bullshit anyways. But this is what the White House is using as their excuse for why wages can't be raised. So before I get to it, let me show you a video here of Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal on MSNBC discussing why the excuse of the parliamentarian is BS.
I did want to make a clarification, though. The parliamentarian issues an advisory opinion. Once the parliamentarian issues that advisory opinion, it is up to the chair of the Senate to decide whether or not to incorporate that opinion. It's a small technicality, but I do think that we've got to use every tool in our toolbox here, whether it is reconciliation, whether it is, ultimately reforming the filibuster. We're going to need to deliver on our promise to raise the wage for 27 million Americans.
And do you make that clarification about the parliamentarian's opinion being an advisory matter because you think that Democrats in the Senate should use their 50 votes and potentially the tie-breaking vote of Vice President Harris, I guess, to overrule the parliamentarian if she says, no, this can't be in reconciliation? Do you think they should go that far?
I personally do. And I'll tell you, it's because Democrats made a promise to people across this country that we were going to raise the minimum wage, that we were going to put money in people's pockets. It's been 12 years since we've raised the minimum wage. And if we're going to make those promises, we have to be able to deliver on them. Because I'll tell you what, in 2 years, Rachel, when people vote in the midterms, you're not going to be able to say, well, I'm sorry, we couldn't raise the minimum wage because the parliamentarian ruled that we couldn't do it. That's not going to fly. So whether it's overruling the parliamentarian or whether it is reforming the filibuster so we can actually pass a minimum wage bill, I think it is important that we use every tool in the toolbox. One thing, though, the House is going to pass this reconciliation bill with a $15 minimum wage raise in it. So we want to be very clear. The House is going to do our job. Now the Senate needs to do its job.
So VP Kamala Harris has the power to overrule the parliamentarian. Yet right now the White House is saying that they will not do that. That $15 minimum wage will not be in the COVID relief bill because of the parliamentarian's decision, even though VP Harris, who said she supported a $15 minimum wage along with Joe Biden, even though they claim to support it, they are unwilling to take the steps necessary to actually pass it. Blaming procedure, even though part of the procedure is the ability to overrule the parliamentarian. Now, this will, as Jayapal mentioned, will absolutely hurt Democrats. If they don't deliver on their campaign promises that the vast majority of Americans support, it will destroy them in 2 years and in 4 years. And to give you a window into that, Elliot Morris here tweets out 66% of Americans in a new The Economist YouGov poll said they support Biden's economic COVID-19 relief plan. 25% said they oppose it. According to this data, this makes Biden's bill the most popular key legislative executive action since the minimum wage hike of 2007. And to go further here, the poll also finds that the proposed $15 minimum wage is 18 points net popular, making it more popular than everything Trump did in office and the most popular key legislative actions since Dodd-Frank a decade ago. If they don't pass this with this kind of popularity, how does this not hurt them? There clearly is no excuse here to not support putting the $15 minimum wage in the COVID relief bill. There is no excuse whatsoever, and it will destroy them if they don't push to pass this. Now, the White House, of course, as I said, pretending that this is out of their control. But Warren Gunnels here tweeting out, CBO to Budget Chair Bernie Sanders, raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour would have a much bigger impact on the federal budget than oil drilling in the Arctic and the repeal of individual mandate penalties. Both of those provisions were deemed permissible under reconciliation. So, perfectly okay, apparently, to include oil drilling in the Arctic and repealing the individual mandate. Perfectly fine. But when it comes to raising wages, no. Apparently, you can't put that through reconciliation. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, another point here. Did you hear once, ever, about the Byrd rule or the parliamentarian over Trump's 4 years? Did Mitch McConnell ever go, well, we were gonna pass tax cuts for the rich, but parliamentarian, the Byrd rule, I'm sorry, we can't help the wealthiest, can't help massive corporations. We got to listen to process. Are you kidding me? Republicans fight tooth and nail for their interests. Democrats give in because they share much of the same interests that Republicans do, while pretending that they don't. Democratic leadership pretends to represent the working class. In reality, they work against the working class every step of the way. You only have, rare examples like Bernie, an independent, but still Bernie Sanders caucusing with Democrats, actually standing up for the working class. Pramila Jayapal supporting this. Ilhan Omar, AOC, again, they want to see wages raised. But when it comes to Democratic leadership, House leadership, Senate leadership, the White House, they do not stand with the working class. They will give in every freaking time and use process as an excuse. Now, let me get to some more reactions here. People for Bernie tweets out, "You have the power to overrule the parliamentarian," quote tweeting Kamala Harris from 2016, where she said, "It's abysmal that the federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. You can't live off that. It's time for a $15 minimum wage." This is in 2016. We're still fighting for the same battle. In reality, this should be much higher than $15. And even in the $15 proposal, it wouldn't be raised to that until 2025. It would take, it's a 4-year process. So it isn't happening immediately. And still, they will not fight for it. Zephyr Teach out here tweeting, quote, "My hands were tied by the Senate parliamentarian is an insult to people who are choosing between housing and food." Yep. Roots Action here tweeting out, "The parliamentarian has no official power. The vice president, as president of the Senate, decides whether to overrule the parliamentarian. This is entirely on Kamala Harris. She can override the parliamentarian. There would not be 60 votes to overrule." And they quote here the New Republic. Kyle Klinsky here tweeting out, "It's Biden-Kamala folding on the minimum wage, along with Manchin and potentially a few others. Every Dem who supports it must declare war on them and make them pay a political price. If they don't, they're just doing empty virtue signaling. Time to prove which side you're on." Absolutely. They can't just... Anybody like Bernie Sanders or Jayapal or AOC or whoever, anybody actually in support of raising wages, they can't just give in and say, oh, well, they decided, can't do anything about it. No. They have to actually make these people pay a political price, which includes primarying them in 2022 and 2024. Primary out these individuals who continue to hide behind process while pretending that they're working in the interests of people when actually they're working in the interests of the wealthy and corporate America. Last thing here, if you want more of a breakdown on this, Daily Poster has a great breakdown. This is David Sirota's outlet. Secret memo shows how Harris must now advance minimum wage hike. So Daily Poster, check it out. I'll link to it below the video when I clip this video out of the live stream. So it's just, there is absolutely no excuse here. And honestly, anyone paying attention shouldn't be surprised, of course, that Biden and Harris are reneging on this. But that doesn't mean you don't fight. That doesn't mean that you don't expose them. So clearly here, just another example of how Joe Biden is being a massive letdown for the working class.